Alrighty, what do we got? Let me check. Nothing there.
And it strikes me that that's one of the areas where we've had so much trouble with looking at this, because we can sit down and agree what might have to happen in a metropolitan context, but we don't have a metropolitan context, Mark. We've got 30 sub-metropolitan contexts to play with. In some cases, like Stirling, we're talking close to 300,000 people. And then when we go down to our smallest council, which is Peppermint Grove, it doesn't even have 2,000 people. Yet these are all councils and everywhere in between that are making decisions that quite often are having a metropolitan-wide impact. Yet we're allowing them to make small patch decisions.
Look, that's certainly been a long-term issue facing Perth, and it still is an issue, in one sense. Now, clearly the Barney government
That's all right. Hey guys, we'll be getting underway soon, I guess. We'll be getting a call in from the studio, and then we'll be away. I'm just going to start the recording, so if need be, I can just upload it again. There we go. That is recording going, and we're about ready to go. So as you can see, still in the home studio. Pretty happy with the way things are going. We've got it all sorted out. So we've got our corner cam up there, little front cam there, and your trusty old microphone. If anyone's got any questions, you can also pop them into the chat, just off to the side there, and I will do my best to watch. So now it's just a matter of watching and waiting. Okay, so if you guys want to call in, just remember every Tuesday night from 8:20 p.m. Perth time until 9 p.m. you can call in on 922 11882 live on air to ask your question. I'll do my best to answer. And of course you can send in your questions to mailbag@benaylett.com. You can also reach me through social media. Just search for Ben Aylett. I'm across all the platforms except for TikTok. I think at the moment I haven't quite got into TikTok. I really should. If you guys have got any suggestions what I should be doing on TikTok or not, happy to take your suggestions. Okay. So, hopefully not too far off, and we'll be getting that call from the studio. Let's try and keep an eye on that. So make sure that's in the foreground. Okay. Alrighty. Right, anyone asking, anyone wants to know, the background that I've got behind me, sorry, there we go, that looks better. The background behind me is the view from Brookfield Plaza. I've got a customer there, and yeah, it's probably one of the nicer views in the city, I think, in my opinion. Just look out over the Ernst Young building onto the Swan River, and in most days it's actually quite nice. If you've got a nice view from your office or your home, feel free to post it up on your favourite social media and, hey, tag me in it. I might actually use it as my background. How's that? Sounds like a bit of fun. All right. So one more check of the socials. Not a lot going on since I last checked. Okey-dokey. Nothing there. No calls yet. It is 8:20. Are they going to call? Jeez, I hope so. All right. Last minute check of the cameras. There we go. That's looking good. That's looking good. Audio's still there. All the levels are still the same. Yeah. Oh, and those that are wondering how I managed to get that background, I use the green screen. It's behind me, and you use a color filter to filter out the green. The trick is you've got to make sure that nothing on you is green, otherwise it starts to look really weird. If you've got any questions about how to do your own broadcast, feel free to give us a yell. Also, I can talk to you about cybersecurity, which is one of my my little pet projects. Something I really enjoy doing. And yeah, especially small business. I love supporting small business because really at the end of the day, that's what we're all about. It's just a collection of lots and lots of small businesses pulling their weight. So I'm here to help. If you do have any questions, you can contact me on the website, which is benaylett.com. And you'll find all the contact details right there where it says contacts and links, and you can just click on a link and away you go. Whoop. Oh, that was a Skype test call. Okay. So we're waiting for that call to come through. Hopefully not much longer. Come on, come on, come on. All right. Oh, there we go. Andrew, thanks for dropping in, mate. All right, I'll just say it on the... I'll just say it here. I'm actually at home, and I'm using a green screen to make it look like I'm somewhere else. But physically located, when it comes to the office, I do work from home. I've been doing it for years now, and I just go to wherever I'm needed. There's no real reason for me to have an office because I'm not going to be spending much time in it, to be honest. So I've got a home office, and that's where I run from. Like anyone's interested, if you're into photography and especially landscape photography and travel, have a chat. Well, go and have a look at Andrew Ma. He's just popped a chat there, and he's actually really, really good with the landscape photography. I'm actually blown away. Some of the places he visits are really amazing, and also some of the places close to home he manages to capture really, really nicely as well. So if you've got any tips and tricks, feel free to have a look at Andrew Ma on YouTube. He's also on Instagram, and I think that's Made by Andrew, I believe it is. Let's see if I can pull it up. Yeah, so go onto Instagram. Oh, here we go. We're on. G'day, g'day.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey. All right.
All right, I'm going to pop you up. And we've got, I think, one caller, and then we'll go straight to you.
Fantastic.
Hold on.
Robotic mowers for every size and shape of lawn to give you a lush green...
Okay, those that are interested, I've got the details for Andrew Ma. So if you go to Instagram and you look for Andrew_Ma, that's M-A-R-R. Go look him up. You won't be disappointed.
Even as we isolate, this business is continuing to use radio to stay connected to its customers. After all, staying connected is why we tune in the first place.
Recording, we're streaming.
Half of all
It's
listening
all live.
radio's never been more relevant. If you need results from...
Oh, Andrew, that's a brilliant idea. Yeah, send some of your landscapes up. That would be awesome, actually. As long as I'm broadcasting from home, I should be able to put it up on the green screen. That'd be wicked.
For nearly 30 years, Dan and our homes have delivered the people of Perth.
You know what? I might even throw them in during the breaks as well. So if you can send us a short video, like a slideshow that's maybe 2 or 3 minutes long, I would be happy. I'd be honoured to actually throw it up in between breaks when we've got the ads going, with just some music that's not going to get me a strike with YouTube. I reckon that'll work fine. That'd be fantastic, actually. And you could plaster it with all your branding if you want. I don't care. That's great. Go for it, man. That'd be wicked.
In these tough times. The changes aren't easy, but they are working. So keep going.
Anyone interested?
If you haven't already,
I'll just throw it
download
up
the
here.
COVID Safe app today. Visit australia.gov.au to learn more. Authorised by the Australian Government, Canberra.
All right, have a look at this. Check
On
this out.
882
Oh.
6PR.
Game time.
Is Perth Tonight with Chris Isley.
Here we go.
9211 is our telephone number. Ben Aylett's going to join us to talk technology from benaylett.com. When you open his website this week, you're greeted by binary. By the way, binary is just a combination of ones and zeros, zeros and ones. Talking about malware and hacks. And it's one of those moments where you think, doesn't matter whether there's a lockdown or not, they're always out there.
Oh, yeah.
On another matter, Glenn.
Oh, good evening, young Christopher. 2 questions.
Yes.
Firstly, the barley. $650 million worth of barley equates to about 1.7 million tonnes of barley.
Yep.
So from where will China purchase this? From the United States or from Canada?
Oh. Well, bearing in mind there's a bit of an issue with the United States. Look, to be honest with you, I reckon the United States would be quite happy to sell it because I don't think that when push comes to shove, they're going to overlook their own interests.
No.
Ditto Canada.
Exactly right. Any chance they've got us screwing our buddies in Australia, they will.
Well, the US have been subsidising their highly inefficient farmers for decades.
Since 1923.
There you go. Mate, the reason we don't have hemp is because of a successful lobbying of cotton farmers to Congress to get them to ban hemp. Hemp is actually far better than cotton, and it's certainly far more environmentally friendly. And the only reason we don't have it is because of the legacy of that ban in the 1920s.
Yeah. The other problem, coronavirus. I have a right to know, we have a right to know, and the world has a right to know the source. Because to know, then we can ensure and eliminate the source or force others to undertake that elimination of that source. In 1899 in Australia, rats from Noumea introduced the Black Plague.
Yeah, well, so the fleas from the rats did, yes.
Yeah, so they burnt houses in Wexford Street. They had an army of rat catchers out there to eliminate it.
Yep. And do you know something else? They had amazing, I can't remember the exact, but the fines per rat for people who had infestations at the time were massive by, the relative money standards of the time. They were absolutely massive. I've got a feeling it was something like about 5 shillings a rat.
Well, what they were doing, they were actually condemning whole sectors of the Chinese ghetto, as they called it in those days, and burning all the buildings to eliminate the rats.
It's a hell of a way to, mate. I've heard of vermin control a little bit excessive, but that goes to the next level.
But the other thing too, if a colony of bats in China is to be destroyed by flamethrowers, in fact, if all the bats in China and all the bats in Africa, because they carry Ebola, are to be wiped as a species from the face of the earth, so be it. 359,000 people have died so far, and look what it costs to the economies. Stuff the Chinese.
Well, the only problem, I hear what you're saying, the only problem with that is that before you went down that path, you'd have to find out exactly what the environmental implications of what you're doing are. Because you can look at something and say, gee, I don't like that, it's a horrible disease-carrying thing, which may well be true. I mean, I put cockroaches in the same category. Every time I see a cockroach, I think, how much better would this world be without them? But would it? And that's the problem we've got. I suppose what we have to do, you're right, we have to find out
everything plays a role.
The source is, how this got out, all of that. And then we have to talk about how we could eliminate it. I don't necessarily know, though, that, let's say, for example, it does come back to bats or something like that in wet markets. Well, maybe what it comes down to is saying, well, that's not something you should be eating. I don't necessarily know that looking at something and saying, yes, we can wipe this off the face of the earth is a really good thing. If that was the case, we'd have to be running around all day with a can of fly spray because the most deadly creature on this planet is the mosquito. Only problem is, I think we'd have a lot of trouble eliminating them. But once again, even though I'd be very happy to see the back of the average mosquito, the only problem is, what do we do environmentally if they disappear? I mean, obviously, the reason they're here, they perform a function. For you and I, the function they perform is to spread disease and kill people, which is not something that we really like. So we'd be better off without them. On face value, I agree. But I think sufficient evidence has emerged in the past when we've done something thinking it's a really good idea, only to find out that it's not such a good idea. So whereas I understand what you're saying, I would urge a bit of caution before we went down that path.
The morning program
With Skyworks under threat, what's the status of the Perth Royal Show?
with Gareth Parker.
You'd have to say that as each day goes by, running the Royal Show in its traditional time slot becomes less likely. But I believe that if we can be flexible enough to bring a show to the people of Western Australia, even in early 2021, we would look to do so.
Mornings with Gareth Parker. Tomorrow from 9 on 882 6PR. Or catch up now at 6pr.com.au.
All right.
Did you know that over
Here we go.
50,000 Aussies have got quotes on quality life insurance from the 50 Up Club? Since the 50 Up Club established itself as the savings club for the over 50s, they've had over 50,000 members get quotes on their life insurance offers. Right now at 50upclub.com, you can get a 20% lifetime discount on life insurance cover with Noakes My Protection Plan. You'll also receive your first 2 months cover for free for a limited time only. That's right, a
Here
20%
we
lifetime
go.
discount plus your first 2 months cover for
Come
free.
on.
There's never been a bigger 50 Up Club life insurance offer. Go to 50upclub.com today. Any advice provided is general in nature and does not consider your personal circumstances. You should read the PDS to see if this product is right for you. Details on the website at 50upclub.com.
You know that feeling you get?
Bugger, what?
No, you're kidding. When you find out you paid too much.
Fiddlesticks.
So make sure you enjoy the feeling of getting the right price and advice every time at Parkwood Plumbing Centre.
Yes.
The trusted choice for all your bathroom, kitchen, laundry and plumbing supplies for over 40 years. If you haven't got a quote from Parkwood Plumbing Centre, you could be paying too much. 168 Bannister Road, Canning Vale, or search Parkwood Plumbing Centre now.
Tomorrow on Today, putting bundling to the test. How much can you save? Combining your utility costs. We break it down.
Plus, the kid from Caboolture, Keith Urban. He joins us from his home in Nashville, Tennessee.
That's tomorrow on Today on 9.
Do you suffer from dry, irritated or watery eyes? Want the latest eyewear technology with the best lenses? IC Optometry South Perth offers Lindbergh frames, handcrafted, incredibly strong, flexible and are the most comfortable in the world. Lindbergh frames are engineered with no screws, rivets or welds. IC Optometry South Perth eye tests are bulk billed and include the latest screening technology for macular, glaucoma and diabetes. See IC Optometry for professional, friendly customer service. 96 Mill Point Road, South Perth. Book an appointment today.
Purely Commercials needs stock. If you have a good commercial vehicle, four-wheel drive wagon, ute, van or SUV for sale, talk to Purely Commercials. We need stock right now. purelycommercials.com.au.
Hi, it's Brendan for the Salvos here. This is a heartbreaking crisis.
massive
and every
outbreak.
day we're seeing people facing personal disaster.
Got to pay the bill
But
somehow,
you
I guess.
get those hardest hit. Go to salvationarmy.org.au and help us leave no one in need.
This is where
Here we
Perth
go.
talks at night with Chris Isley on Perth Tonight.
Time to catch up with Ben Aylitz from benaylitz.com. The man will be joining us in the studio from next weekend. He will still be identified by his Hawaiian shirt and the fact that he just has a wealth of knowledge that he wants to share with us. G'day, mate.
Oh, g'day, Chris. How you going, mate?
Doing very well. Always a pleasure to have a chat to you, although your webpage, benaylitz.com,
Yes.
1 L 2 T's in Aylitz, not actually inviting me this week. You've got lots of binary, the symbol of binary, of course, being ones and zeros and ones.
That's right.
With malware written in white. And then you say there has been a marked increase in stories of high-profile attacks on large companies and even some celebrities by ransomware operators. Security experts say if we don't change our way, it is only going to get worse. And it comes down to how businesses have reacted to the COVID-19 pandemic by allowing workers to operate from home offices but not updating how they handle cybersecurity for these changes. And do you know what I read today? And the first thing I thought, I did send a reply to it. So
Okay.
It was on a news site about how a lot of companies would get really excited because they wouldn't be having to upgrade their computer systems because more and more people were working from home and people would be using their own home systems. And there was a user comments, and I wrote, and the systems will suffer more malware attacks as people on their home computers are somewhat lax with security. So unless these companies are prepared to put their hand in their pocket and contribute to security, they face potential technological damnation.
Yes, potentially they do. Now, it is true, if businesses encourage more working from home, then they can actually save on the hardware outlay and use the home computer, as long as they do it safely. So picture this. You've got your all your wealth, all your treasures, and you're keeping them in a concrete bunker. This bunker has got one way of getting in, one way of getting out. It's all well controlled and locked down. Now, things change, and the bunker is no longer working. You've got to make it more accessible. So you pick it up and you take it to a warehouse. So all of your wealth, all of your information is sitting in this warehouse. Now, the trick is that this warehouse has multiple doors owned by your employees, and they're the ones responsible for making sure those doors are secure and working right, because you don't have control over those doors.
Further,
Yep.
Are the employees, if you're using it for work, are the employees responsible for making those doors more secure, or does it fall to the company? Let's say, for example, you're doing this work for a company that handles sensitive personal information. And Freddie happens to have his computer at home that he's working on, and he likes working from home. He also has security that, to be polite, sucks. And somebody hacks in and gets the personal information of somebody else and uses that personal information for nefarious purposes. Let's say good old-fashioned identity theft, half a dozen credit cards in that person's name, sends their credit rating in the toilet, the whole 9 yards. The company is arguably responsible.
Absolutely.
Because it allowed Freddie to do his work from home, and Freddie had a vulnerable computer. So here's the other kicker too. Some employee is using his computer from home, so the computer is now both a private and a business computer. Right. Now, let's just say that person using computer from home, let's call it the mythical Freddie once again, also enjoys spending a bit of his own private time on Pornhub.
Okay,
What about the implications then? Because let's say the two somehow get intertangled, and you and I both know that that certainly could happen. So that's when the private and the business start to get mixed together with potential ramifications. So I would argue that if you are in the position where you're working from home, you would expect that the business would firstly pay for the internet connection. And secondly, they would supply you with a computer, which I would imagine in most cases would be a laptop or similar. And your work computer and your work connection would be separate from anything private. Otherwise, the lines between private and business get blurred, and so too do the obligation. Somebody who might be able to do something in the privacy of their own home quite legitimately could put their employment in jeopardy if somehow the two crossed. Or if, for example, somebody got personal information from your computer at home and there was inadequate security, whereas at work it would be logically expected that the work's computer would be secure. Now, sure, you and I know that's not necessarily the case, but the obligation is there and the obligation is clear.
Oh, absolutely. The obligation is very clear. So, yes, it is the business at the end of the day that is responsible for keeping that data safe, and they then have to impress upon whoever's working from home. They have to make sure that they are trained in handling information securely, and they have to properly set up the system in order to make it work right and securely. So going back to our analogy where we've got all of our precious stuff inside the warehouse with all these different doors controlled by the employees, it's drastically increased what we call the attack surface, or the number of points of entry into a protected system. Now, there is a way that this can be made to work right, as if we were to get a tunnel from the warehouse to the bunker. So everything going to the bunker is still tightly controlled and everyone's still got access to the warehouse, but only the people who are authorized can use this tunnel. The tunnel is VPN. So if you have a VPN service set up in your office, it can then make available to authorized people via the internet. They can have access to your valuable business data and they can continue to operate. The trick is that a lot of businesses are in a rush and they quite often forget to make sure that that tunnel is there and being used properly, and they just try to make it work at whatever cost. And unfortunately, the cost is quite severe. We've seen BlueScope Steel have been hit by ransomware, most likely due to someone working at home and they open a malicious attachment while they're using a work system. I'm sure we've all heard about the ATO being hacked, and I'm using air quotes here because they weren't really hacked themselves. It was an accountant. No one's owned up to it yet, but this is our best guess, is that an accountant sent their staff to work from home, which is reasonable, but one of the workers were actually compromised using malware, which then gained access to the accounting system, which then gained access to the ATO system, and they managed to get an early grab at someone else's superannuation because of COVID-19 and financial relief. And it just doesn't stop. So we've also seen Toll Group. You remember they've been hit by ransomware. Well, they've been hit again. So it's unrelenting, and they don't care who they target as long as they hit a nice, fat, juicy target. And it's all about getting that payoff. So it's really important that if you're running a business and you're trying to allow people to work from home, that you actually get the security part of it right. And I've seen a whole number of solutions, which you've got your typical VPN solution, but I've also seen some very secure remote desktop solutions, which allow you to run it on run your business systems from a Mac computer, from a Chromebook, from anything that will open up a remote remote desktop connection into a server, and the server is kept secure in a data center, and it's just one of the better solutions I've seen, and I'm actually very pleased I was a part of that project.
Yep. The one thing I can draw from all of this is the idea of people having their own systems, which are somehow going to be integrated with the work system, is fraught with danger. Because even though you might have one person who's only using the work system, that doesn't mean that 3 or 4 other members of the family aren't using the home aspect of that system, and potentially bringing any one of a number of nasties into the place because they really don't care about security. So I truly believe that if businesses are going to do this, they are going to have to make sure that they purchase equipment for their employees to work from home, which is secure equipment only used by that employee, that can only be used by that employee, connected by a system that they've put in place. And let's face it, if you're talking about big companies, they can do deals with various different ISPs to put what connections are needed in place. Otherwise, what you're doing is you're mixing the private and the business, and there is no way I can see that could be anything other than fraught with danger. And when you talked about accountants and what have you, they have highly confidential documents from their clients.
Absolutely.
And, mate, there are many people who would not... I mean, let's just take, for example, let's say somebody who was high profile. One of their accountants working from home, system gets compromised. All of a sudden, somebody looks at this and they realise that here is a person of significance. Gee, I've got this person's financial information here.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a really high-profile, well-known person publicly for whatever reason. And all of a sudden, oh, boy, I can have some fun with this. Now, the problem is, once stuff like that has got out into the wild, you never get it back. And I've always likened this to taking a bag of feathers, a huge bag of feathers, and climbing the top of Central Park Tower. Right? And then emptying it off the top of Central Park Tower. Then all of a sudden you think, gee, that was a dumb thing to do. I'll go back down to the terrace and pick up the feathers. Well, you and I both know that when you go down to pick up those metaphorical feathers, you might pick up most of them, but you won't pick up all of them. And that's the problem, and that's the big concern I always have if information, especially highly confidential information of people's, finds its way into the public domain. Once it's out there and somebody decides to stick it on I'm a real sleazeball.com based out of Belarus, you are not going to get it back.
Totally true. So this is a new tactic that's being used by these ransomware operators. Not only do they scramble the data, but they also exfiltrate or steal the information and hold that for ransom as well. So you might say, I'm okay, I'm just going to restore from backups. And some of the bigger targets where they can actually spend a little more time on attacking someone, actually go ahead and try to remove that information as well and hold that for ransom. This is actually been highlighted just a few days ago. So Lady Gaga has a law firm representing her. Apparently that law firm has been breached, and they've managed to grab Lady Gaga's legal documents, and they're demanding a $42 million US ransom from the law firm. And they said that they've also got dirty laundry on one of the most well-known people in like current affairs at the moment, namely Donald Trump. So it's really, I think this is the first time we've heard of an actual cyber gang going after Donald Trump outside of the Russian troll farms.
Yep, but it just shows that anyone is going to be vulnerable, and the higher quality the target, like the thing with Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is, but somebody's looked at it and thought, this is worth a fair bit.
I'm sure
now,
it is.
Lady Gaga's legal issues are Lady Gaga's business.
Exactly, yeah.
And you should have expected that her information was secure, which clearly it wasn't. And I think this is part of the problem. This is the great dilemma that we have. And what we need is to I think we're actually going to get to the point where we need to have regulation that makes data more secure. Because, mate, there is so much information held about everybody. Now, the fact of the matter is, I guess for most people, aside from being victims of identity theft, which would be bad enough, individual, everyday people are probably not so vulnerable in the sense of they really don't have anything that somebody could use. But the moment you go to high-profile or very wealthy individuals, then it becomes a whole different bag of snakes. We'll talk about that in a moment.
I mean, the rumour file brought it to public attention yesterday.
Right.
I was unaware of the issue.
Be part of the John Hughes rumour file for your chance to win $500.
Yeah, so around about... Yeah.
A new Mitsubishi ASX from John Hughes.
Email rumourfile at 6pr.com.au.
So around about now
during breakfast weekdays
is when I'd be
John
putting
Hughes,
up
now over 50
your
years
video,
in
Andrew.
Victoria Park. Visit
Okay, now Darko. Sorry, mate. Now that we're into the show, it's going to be hard for me to drag out emails live on air and read them out, so you've got to send the emails earlier. And just try and keep the questions simple as well. Don't. I've had a look at it, and yeah, this is kind of in depth.
Business, like calling someone to help understand your currency options anytime, day or night. Get an OF expert like Ryan working for you.
Okay.
OFX.com/save. Consider the PDS.
6PR is here for you during the coronavirus pandemic. And if you need help, then the following organisations can assist you during this difficult time.
People Who Care is a volunteer-based organisation operating across 20 centres metro-wide, offering a diverse range of
and something that doesn't involve screenshots either, Darko.
Elderly,
so,
disabled, or experiencing financial hardship.
Yeah, just try and keep it simple, like something you'd ask on there.
1944, or visit peoplewhocare.org.au. If you're in need of emergency food assistance, you can find a charity in your area via the ER Connect website, which will provide phone numbers of organisations.
Oh, Andrew, this is my streaming setup, so I've got a whole bunch of floodlights around the place hanging up. I've got some sound deadening, so I've got a doona hanging up there and a doona hanging up on that wall. Green screen behind me, camera, microphone, camera. I'm using OBS, my streaming.
Prescriptions and more, contact free. Visit wizardpharmacy.com.au/delivery to find out more.
And,
we understand that it may be difficult for you
it
to
works quite well.
Your hearing and audiology needs in light of the COVID restrictions. But thankfully, the Art of Hearing will look after you. The Art of Hearing is open and will provide safe and quality care to new and existing clients. If you're unable to get to a hearing clinic, our experienced audiologists are happy to discuss your questions and concerns over the telephone. All clinics in Perth are also open for face-to-face appointments. Visit artofhearing.com.au.
Financial security is now more important
And that's the
than ever.
mute. So always make sure when you're doing live streaming is that you have the ability to mute the microphone at the hub.
Women find it so difficult to leave. Combank is helping shine
So you've got to be able to mute it at the hardware level. That way you don't have to fiddle around with software mutes and all that sort of messing around.
Combank.com.au/financial abuse. If you or someone you know is affected by domestic violence, please call 1-800-RESPECT. In an emergency, call 000.
Here we go.
Until midnight on 6PR. This is Perth Tonight with Chris Isley.
By the way, if you want to get in contact with Ben Aylett, you can do so. His website, quite simple, benaylett.com. It's all one word, benaylett.com. 1L, 2 T's in Aylett. That's where you'll find all of his contact information. Ben, Chris has joined us. G'day, Chris.
G'day, Ben. G'day, Chris. Yeah, look, I actually confirm that, Chris, what you were saying about cyber security, working from home. I actually wrote a post into the Australian suggesting exactly what you just said about working from home and the security issues in business, etc. But this actually happened to a friend of mine in Sydney about on the weekend, and my wife works from home, like thousands of others. But my mate got his house robbed, and he got his work laptop stolen. He got his work laptop stolen.
Uh-oh.
Now, what I'm saying is that it's not only cyber security. The fact is that you can get in all sorts of strife if somebody's got your laptop, and it might contain all sorts of stuff. And that's if when you're at work, I mean, nobody's going to burgle the seventh floor of a business in the CBD.
Yeah, well, they're not going to get in there to do that, and I think that's probably the point. But there's another aspect of it, the possibility that somehow equipment you have that has work data on it is in and of itself compromised or stolen.
And that's a really good consideration, is not only the cybersecurity but the physical security. And this is another reason when people have laptops that they take out on the road or use at home, is that they encrypt the hard drives. Now, it's not your run-of-the-mill stuff, but it is something that should be considered, especially by businesses who give laptops to their employees, because you might tell people not to save things to the hard drive. You've got to save it to the network or to the cloud. But not everyone listens because it's not always convenient. So it's important to cater for that.
In such a way that you only have a system that can do that, whereby, let's say, for example, you have what is essentially a laptop, but it doesn't have, beyond what is required to make the physical machine run, it doesn't have a hard drive capable of storing any data. That when you connect and you log into the network, and if you save anything, you're actually saving it at the remote server that's at the workplace.
Look, it is possible. It's tricky, and the way you've described it, I mean, that is a dream, to be able to have something solid state that has just the bare minimum as far as an operating system goes, and then it dials into a remote server, which is also protected. That's the ideal way to do it. And this is actually almost exactly how this project that I was a part of in the last couple of weeks, that's exactly how they employ it as well. So you could be running anything or nothing on your local computer, but you open up this remote connection and it goes directly to the remote server, and it won't save a username or a password. So even if someone was to steal the laptop, the link might be on the desktop, but they'd still need a username and a password to sign in. So it's actually really, really good.
Yeah, and not something that you would easily be able to guess.
Oh, absolutely.
You might then say, well, not only do you have to have a username and a password, but you have to have two-factor authentication. And even two-factor authentication where I'm not talking about something that sends a message to your phone, I'm talking about something where you have a key fob.
Yep, a key
fob.
Would
automatically would automatically come up and say, now enter the number. Right, the number might be 28325. Just enter that number in. Right, the random number, the next time it comes up, it might be 554329, and any sort of random number, but it just appears on this key fob which you enter, which provides that level of security. Because if we're going to work from home, if we're going to have computer systems, and if we're going to have confidential information, then companies are going to have to go to that level. Because you look at this situation, say with Lady Gaga. It's not inconceivable that she might end up suing this law firm. Because regardless of whether they pay the ransom or not, the information is still out there in the wild. It gets back to my bag of feathers at the top of Central Park Tower business.
Yeah, it is actually going. I'm very sure that if this does actually pan out to be information that they've got and then they leak, they will most definitely be facing a lawsuit. I'm pretty sure there'd be other lawyers out there willing to take these guys down for failing to secure information. It's it is actually fraught with danger. If you're holding onto someone's personal information, you'd better start taking it seriously, because it is not an asset. It is a liability that's going to cost money for you to look after.
Exactly right. Ben, we're out of time. As always, thank you for your time. And look forward to seeing you in the flesh next week. Hopefully I'll remember what you look like.
Okay. All right, mate. I'll look forward to seeing you.
BenAylett.com is a website. Ben Aylett, 1L2.
Thanks, Ben.
No problem. Catch you later.
All right, bye.
Bye. Right. Well, okay, we didn't manage to cover everything we wanted to, so look, there is one thing I want to touch on right now, which I'll probably chop up and sort of post again as advertising, for some sort of an ad. But there are businesses out there that are looking to open up and be able to track contact with their clients. So as they go to, let's start from the beginning. You've got a business and you want to open up again, but you are required to keep a register of people who come to your business. So it's a contact register, and you actually got to keep track of it. So did you know that you've already got pretty much all the tools you need to build your own secure special register that is contact free and also quite useful? So we'll start off. We'll have a look at Google Forms, because almost everyone's either got a YouTube account or a Gmail account. If you've got that, you've got Google Forms. So Google Forms, we can make a form, and it's just very simple. It can be branded to suit your business, and all they do is they put in their name. So we can say Ben Aylett and the phone number. Okay, so that's there, and you click on Submit, and it sends back a little acknowledgement. This can be run on your phone, so people visiting the business can actually scan a QR code, so you can have something like these at the front door of your business. Very, very simple to create, and it links to that form. And so people don't even have to share a phone, or they don't have to type in an address. They just scan the code and use their own phone, and away they go. The details are then dropped into a form, a tracking form here. So it's date stamped and time stamped, all in order of when people visited. So you can actually go back and you can see all the people that visited, say on the 19th. So you can send a text message to all those people who visited on the 19th, and away you go. So I'll just quickly show you the form there. So there it is there. And you can manage the rows quite easily. And when they get too old, so say you only want to keep it for a couple of months, anything older than 2 months, you can select it and delete it. So it's secure, it's easy, it's contactless. And look, even if you have someone visit this store, your premises, and they don't have a smartphone, you can still have one of your staff members grab their phone, scan the code, pop the details in as you normally would. And there it is. It's something that's available to you right now. It's so simple. Okay, guys, that's about everything. If you've got any further questions, you can find me at benaylett.com. You can call me using the contact details down here, and that's 0419 965 5196. If you've got any other questions, if you want to email me, you can send your emails to mailbag@benaylett.com. And I'm on Perth's 882 6PR every Tuesday night from 8:20 p.m. till 9 p.m. And I will catch you guys then. Thank you very much for joining me, and I'll catch you again next week live from in the studio. Sorry, just had a look at the questions here, and yeah, Andrew, great question. What are you using to switch the cameras? I use OBS, and OBS is great for switching between scenes, but to make it super easy, this is probably one of the purchases that I've made that I think is probably one of the best purchases I've made, besides the green screen, which I think is awesome. It's the Elgato Stream Deck. All these keys are programmable, and you can use it to switch between scenes. So we'll go and switch to this one, and then back to this one, and this one here. And that's what you use for switching between cameras. And I can also use it to turn elements on and off. So when someone's on the line and calling, I can press that just to say, hey, someone's calling. This is a listener question. And switch it off. There you go. Very, very handy. That's the Elgato Stream Deck. And also from Elgato is the big old green screen at the back, which is collapsible. Check this out. Get this out of the way. It's easy as that. Simple. And there you go. Like magic. I'll take it away and bring it back. All right, guys. Once again, thanks very much, Andrew, and I look forward to catching you again, mate. We got to catch up. Got to catch up. All right, till then, catch you later.